They told me Blackhollow Grange had no crypt. The villagers swore by it. The county records confirmed it, and the Restoration Council dismissed my questions with bemused smiles. But I am not a man who listens to the living. I listen to stone and rot and the quiet beneath floorboard. And from the moment I stepped inside Blackhollow, I knew something waited below. The Grange stood alone atop a barren moor, its silhouette devoured daily by fog. Its windows were blind with dust, its doors swollen with rain. The estate had been abandoned since 1912, yet still felt occupied by a presence. Neither warm nor hostile, only ... expectant. I was sent by the Antiquarian Society to survey the structure, assess its restoration potential. But I had my own intention. I studied death. Mausoleums, forgotten ossuaries, the architecture of mourning. I hoped to find a hidden wing, a concealed room. What I found was a crypt that had never been listed, never mapped, and yet had always been there. It began with a false wall in the cellar, brittle with mold. Behind it, a narrow stairwell spiraled downward into impossible depth, ending at a sealed door marked with a sigil I did not recognize. A downward-facing lily encircled by 12 small rings pressed into wax, so ancient it cracked like skin. When I touched it, the wax gave way soft, pliable land. The door opened inward on silent hinges. I should have hesitated, but I crossed the threshold without thought. What lay beyond defied the dimensions of the house. Above, a crypt carved from dark stone, ceiling vaults arching like the underside of a cathedral, and in its center, a raised dais bearing a coffin of polished black marble. On either side of it stood wrought iron, sconces one, empty, the other bearing a lit candle. Two's the candle burned with a flame of blue and gold, a light too steady to be natural. No wick, no flicker, no smoke. Its glow did not stretch far, yet it clung to the coffin's surface like breath. I moved close. The wax was warm to the touch, though the air was bitter. When I returned to the surface, dawn had come, though my watch claimed it had only been an hour. That night I dreamed of a woman in white lace, her face veiled in shadow. She whispered in a language I did not know, but the words settled into my waking mind like ash. Keep me, or I vanish. Light me, or I drown. In the morning, I found wax beneath my nails. Compulsion replaced curiosity. Each night I descended, documenting, measuring, photographing, but the candle never changed. Puh! It burned steadily, never lower, never higher. Brr! The coffin was unmarked, its stone cold. Ooh! On the 5th night, I brought a second candle, placed it in the empty sconce, and tried to light it. Nothing, not even a spark. Frustrated, I returned to the nearby village, seeking answers. An old priest heard my questions and grew pale. He told me one was buried twice, once by hand, once by vow. Only the flame remembers which. He would say no more. Burke, at the manor, I searched the collapsed library and found a journal. Frederick Linwood. Pshoo. 1854. He wrote of a woman named Helena, of a pact forged in wax and sealed in silence. He spoke of vows beyond death, of a candle that must never be allowed to die. His final entry read, "She will wait, as I promised. If I fail, let her sleep forever. Breathe." The ink bled into the paper, as if he had written it with shaking hands. That night, I returned to the crypt and read aloud. The final passage, the candle flared, and when I turned to leave, the door was gone. The stone had sealed me in. Panic gave way to awe. I was not alone. The coffin had moved an inch. Perhaps Lesbot it had moved. Wax began to appear on the lid in new pattern. The lily, the circles, and now an open eye. I slept in the crypt that night, and dreamed not of Helena, but of myself eyes wide, unmoving, standing sentinel beside the coffin. In the dream, I whispered to myself, "The second flame is not a gift, it is a binding." The next evening, I tried again to light the second candle. This time, it burned, identical in color to the first, blue at the heart, gold at the edge. The light spread like recognition. The stone beneath my feet seemed to breathe. The lid of the coffin cracked down the center. Wax seeped from the fracture, and a voice from within, soft as breath on glass. "You have remembered me." I fled up the winding stair, through the dark halls, into the cold night. The manor said nothing. The fog did not move. The door at the top had opened of its own accord. Since then, I have remained above, unable to sleep. The mirror shows my face, but wax runs down from my eyes. I write this now with shaking hands, the flame still visible through the floorboards. I know I must return, because the second candle is lit, because the coffin is opening, because I must know who waits inside.